ready. We're here.
We're ready. Yeah,
We're
it's
waiting
11
for you.
o'clock. Yep. Finished lunch and all, put the dishes away, and we're ready to go to talk to you about whatever
Nothing.
is on our mind.
Nothingness.
And all. And by the way, several of you have sent in some suggestions, which we'll be covering over the next few weeks, and we thank you very, very much. We probably are not going to touch on politics
Probably
because
no, we are
I
not.
think we've probably had it up to here with politics. So
Right.
you do your research and make sure that you go out and cast
Vote.
your vote, and all. But we're not going to spend our time trying to say vote this way or that way. You do your research. Well, that's
That's
all.
just it. Do the research.
That's right. That's all we're gonna say about.
Okay. What are we going to say about today?
What we're going to talk about today is something that is probably not prevalent all over the country for those of you that are watching from all over the country, but you are probably bothered by some pests or nuisances of one variety or another wherever you live. Here in North Texas, we have issues with coyotes and bobcats in our neighborhoods. And everybody is trying to blame the coyotes and the bobcats, but the problem is that it's probably been the result of progress. This was their prairie. This was their homeland where they roamed. And as the developers started buying up property and building homes, it drove the domestic critters and all into the lowland areas like the creek beds and all. And we happen to live in a community that has a creek and ponds that run through it. And so we have an issue with coyotes and with bobcats. There's a lot of aspects to this discussion because we also have a rabbit problem. There's lots of rabbits. And sometimes the rabbits become the prey of the bobcats and the coyotes.
Which is why all the neighbors and the people in our area love the bobcats and revere them
Because
because
it's controlling
it's
the other.
controlling,
Mhm.
yes, the rabbits. And I will tell you, the rabbits eat your shrubs, your plants, your flowers.
They're more
They
vegetarians,
eat a
where
lot.
the bobcats and the coyotes are more carnivores, and
And then they poop it out all over the sidewalks, all over your grass, and
it's
but
interesting. The more that we talk about it, the more I realize that we've also had issues with field mice and
oh, got a lot of
and
field
rats
mice around. Yeah.
and the prey that get them are also the bobcats or some of the they're not, are they ravens, the birds that we
I
have in the
don't
area that
think they're
sometimes
ravens.
that
They might be.
they go after some of the field
But you know
mice.
why we have so many field mice and rats too? We have rats because I don't know if anybody knew this. We might have mentioned it on another show that the bird feeders
Oh,
that everyone has in their yards, that's great for the birds, but the rats and the mice also love it.
and the squirrels.
And it brings them to the bird feeders, as well as people maybe overfilling their garbage containers so that the lids don't close. That's a big part of it too. Kids maybe are outside playing and they leave a wrapper or the rest of the little snacks that they're eating, and then that brings the rats and the mice. So for whatever reason, we have it all.
Yeah.
And the rabbits are as cute as can be, but they are so domesticated, they're not even fearful of us. I mean, you
Yeah.
can clap your hands and tell them to run, and they look at you like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, this is
mine.
this is my alleyway.
Yeah,
This is where I live.
The rabbits are kind of funny, but they're aggravating. But the bobcats, I still have a hard time knowing if this is a big cat that I'm seeing that's sitting in the street. You know, just an oversized
feral
big cat. Or if it's a bobcat.
Well, the
it's really hard
the
sometimes to
the
tell.
key feature, and they are more nocturnal. They don't come out as much during the day as they do at
Yeah,
dusk and early in the morning or even overnight, because that's when they're looking for prey too. But bobcats, generally, it's the pointed ears
oh, they
that
getcha.
make them a bit different, and they also, unlike most feral cats, have short
I
tails.
was just gonna ask about the tails.
Yeah,
Because I saw one on our ring and I couldn't tell if it was cat, but its tail was really long.
yeah.
So then it wouldn't be
It-
about.
That would probably, yeah, probably was not a bobcat. But
Mm.
somebody just posted on next door that there was a bobcat that just had four little, I guess, are they
The
cubs?
cub,
I guess they're called
yeah,
cubs. And it was the cutest picture.
they
And you
were, but,
realize that these four little cubs are gonna pretty soon be out hunting in the neighborhoods for foraging for food.
but people
And
were actually talking how cute, how playful they are. And are they
play,
thinking?
I
I
don't know
mean,
if, yeah.
just,
Maybe cute now, but I wouldn't put him in a
I would be
playful.
scared to get near them, even when they're cubs.
And
I,
I also read that coyotes are probably more fearful of humans
I
than
did
the
read that.
bobcats are. That the bobcats are a little bit like the rabbits. That if you're in the vicinity of a bobcat, it'll be sit on your fence and it'll stare at you, like to say, "Hey, I got a right to be here too."
Right.
Coyotes, if you approach them, they have a tendency to run.
Well, we've had
They
runners and
get,
walkers and all walking on the trails morning, early evening, and they're pretty fearful because they've come pretty close.
and that's why we say that we're talking about what is in our neighborhood in North Texas. But
Yeah.
I'm sure that those of you that are watching and listening and following the show, wherever you're located in any state, there is probably issues with some form of animals. If you
Or
live anywhere
insects.
between an urban area and a suburban area,
What about the cities, the inner cities? In the Midwest, in the apartments and the houses, you can have cockroaches or water bugs, I call them, but
yeah, but a cockroach won't eat your pets or go after
no,
your other
well,
insects
that's
generally.
very true. That's true. But yeah, these coyotes and
But it,
bobcats will go after, they will carry your little doggy away.
yeah, I mean,
It's
if you live in more remote rural areas, you may have to deal with an overpopulation of deer or wild boars or
boars, I would
pigs.
think would be dangerous. With the deers, aren't the deers just there to kind of
Deer definitely,
look around and get food and
yeah, but they like you said with the rabbits, very often the deers are looking for gardens to feed off of. But if you approach a deer, they're quick. They have a
well,
tendency to,
there was something either on Nextdoor or Facebook, I don't know which it was, and you think it's real, maybe it wasn't, of deer coming into a neighborhood near a house and the people going up and
well,
petting it and feeding it.
that's
And
the
that's the
key.
problem.
It's because when somebody starts to, like any animal,
Right,
if you feed it, it will become a little more domesticated because
right.
it feels that if you are giving it food or leaving food for it, they're going to come back to see if there's more. And the more that you leave it out there, the closer you can get to that animal. Then that animal brings its family.
Right. And
Uh,
disease,
up
I
north,
would
you
think.
you you see this with moose, and elk, in some of the higher elevations in northern territories. But anywhere anywhere where there has been open ground and prairie land, once that area becomes developed, unless they go in and find some of these animals and actually animal control gets them and relocates them, they're just relocating to try and find shelter. And as I say, it is usually wherever there is tree cover, wherever there is a water source,
Mhm.
uh, and it's all part of our ecosystem.
Do you know somebody also had a picture, and I don't think this was fake because it was I just could tell the way it was taken. It was in a neighborhood not far from us, and they opened their front door one morning and they found a raccoon just sitting there looking up at the door.
I don't
Now
see that.
that,
Yeah.
really, that I would be surprised they would come that close,
Well, but
that they're
again,
not
it's
like under
it's looking
something
for
or
something,
around a tree.
you know, or maybe it's a remote control raccoon looking for a package to pick up on somebody's doorstep. Nothing
Oh my
surprises
God.
me anymore. You know, but it is unusual to find raccoon, unless you get out, like here in West Texas, you don't often see armadillo. Uh, uh, but if you get on the back roads and the farm to market roads,
Yeah,
you
I've
know,
seen them.
every once in a while you'll see them along the
Yeah.
highway.
Either dead or alive,
Yeah,
one of the two. But yeah, we saw it when we were coming back from Arkansas.
yeah,
I saw an armadillo.
yeah.
Um, it's
And
it's
when
amazing.
we lived in the even in the Keys, down toward outside of Key West, there's an area where there is the key deer, which is a specific
Mhm.
breed of deer that sometimes get overpopulated, and they have to either relocate them or you know just reduce the herd, whatever way they do it. But very often you could be driving down the highway and all of a sudden they just jump right
They
across
do. They
the
tell you,
highway,
there's signs,
and there's
beware.
yeah, deer crossing. And in some cases, if it's an endangered species, they have the right of way. If you see them, you come to a stop, which they out west, they used to do that with buffalo and cattle. If they started to cross a highway, everybody would stop for them.
Well, it's like the little ducks. We have the little ducks too.
Yeah.
In the area because we have a pond. And every once in a while you'll see a mom with her little babies.
Yep.
They've gotten lost or they just
Or
veered away from the
they're
water.
trying to get from the creek to the pond,
Yeah,
and they have to cross a road.
and you see them and they are, I mean, can't help but smile and
And so
think how
you slow
adorable.
down and you stop, and then the idiot behind you is laying on his horn,
Yeah.
like, come on, you know, hey, I'm trying to be kind and courteous, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
eco-friendly here, you idiot.
But we also have snakes,
I don't have
which
snakes.
we did at one point because I found the skin laying on the rocks on the side of our house. So there was a snake somewhere.
Our grandson once said we were walking around his neighborhood, and he says, Pop, there's a snake over here. And then he turned around and he says, Pop,
Pop wasn't there.
Pop was gone. That's all you got to do is say snakes or even spiders, and I am opposite direction.
Yeah, spiders are not too good either.
No, I mean, and again,
And that's why it amazes me why you would like to get a little house in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere means you're gonna have all these critters
well,
with you
I'm gonna make
as
sure the
well.
land around my little place is cleared.
What are you gonna do? Concrete it all?
That's a possibility, you know, or artificial turf, whatever. But you know, you talk about
No.
spiders, they say spiders are good because spiders take care of other little insects like
Mhm.
ants
Mhm.
and flies and things
Mhm.
like that are in
Mhm.
your garden. So we as human beings, I don't think know enough about the ecosystem and about how beneficial it basically is because we aren't that environmentally savvy. It's not as high on our priority list. And yeah, sometimes, you know, wild animals can be a nuisance, you know, but God, remember, folks, they were here before we were.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are maybe they're scared because they don't know too much about them. And I will say they don't teach very much of that in school. I mean,
But
with all the science that they have, I just
like I say,
don't hear about it from my grandson that they talk about
yeah,
the creatures that are almost in bed with us, excuse the expression, that are
yeah.
in our houses or that are in our neighborhoods. What do you do?
Now I'm gonna have to check the bed before I get in it.
But we have frogs
Your
too,
fault.
and I'm sure a lot of people have frogs in the country.
Yeah, I haven't seen frogs that much again because why? Because it's been so dry. And all that the frogs too seek lower areas where the soil is moist or where there is a small little creek or a pond that is accumulated some water.
We used to have turtles in our creek down the street. And
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that we still do.
do we still have them?
Yeah, at certain times of the year. In the summertime,
Oh, I'm
we
glad
usually have
because unfortunately there was a foreign family that moved into the neighborhood
them.
and decided, wouldn't it be nice to make turtle soup?
Yeah, and they used to capture the turtles and
And we
take them.
didn't know it
Yeah,
until we realized it and
yeah,
that we had to put a stop to that one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But what can I
So
say?
we still,
So we'll go out, we'll look for bobcats and drop us a note and let us know where you live and if there are certain, animal
yeah,
populations
what
and
you have.
everything that invade your area uh that you're concerned about.
Because
And
then we won't
I'll
visit there, right?
yeah, we'll drive around
We'll
your
put
your
we'll,
your city instead of through
we'll
it.
make it part of our podcast, but we'll just drive.
Right, right. So go out and have a good day, make it a good week, a good weekend, and be kind to the animals. Okay.
That's true.
You're my favorite bobcat.
Oh, thanks.
Bye.
See ya.